So tell me a little bit about when teachers are struggling at the beginning of the year to get their classroom set up. So what are some of the things that you have them do right off the bat to get set up?
Right off the bat, I make sure that they want to make it a comfortable space for themselves,
Yeah.
then for their students. So you want to make it a comfortable space for yourself. What I mean by that is organize your space. So make sure that you have a place for pretty much everything. The same thing that I tell you to do for your students when you walk in and look around as a student, do it as a teacher. When a student hands me something, where am I going to put it? Don't just throw it on your desk. I tell teachers, if you have that big pile of papers at the back, shame on you. Shame on you. Stop it. Get a filing system, get some boxes. What I used to do, honestly, I've been in the classroom. You don't have a whole bunch of money to just buy all these fancy things. I would get the file folder boxes, and I would take the file folders out and use them. And then those two, the top and the lid, would be places that I would put handouts and things like that when I made copies of them. Just something that simple. And I had a little table, and it was just full of boxes, and I would throw stuff in the boxes. It's just something that simple where it's going to make your life easier when you have to file papers, when you have to find that assignment, when your students turn in something, they know where to go, you know where to go. So you're making your space comfortable, get all the supplies you need and things like that. And then you make their space comfortable. If you're doing alternative seating or regular desks, whatever it is, go ahead and format it in the way you want it formatted before they get there. And then do that walkthrough as a student and make sure that every question that you have is a routine, is a procedure that you've already thought about. That's going to break down a lot of stuff. And then one of the biggest tips I give for the first day of school is, most teachers will have their seating chart.
Yeah.
No. Let your students lead your seating chart.
Yeah.
Don't do a seating chart on the first day.
Interesting.
Let them come in, see who's friends, see who's dating, see who hates each other. You'll learn all of that in like the first maybe 1 or 2 days.
Right.
Then break down the seating chart.
Yeah.
So then that first 2 days of school, you are the cool teacher. You're the one without the seat. Like, oh yeah, Then that third day they come in like, Gary, seat 1, Mary, seat 2. And they're like, what? Like, yeah. But you'll know, you'll see them holding hands. Okay, they can't sit together.
Right.
You'll see them talking for 5 minutes. Okay, but they can't sit together.
Right.
Can you let them lead your seating chart?
Right. Well, okay, tying back to personalized learning for our students that maybe need to be sitting up front. Maybe we have students that really need to be in an atmosphere where they can't have a lot of distractions around them. So what we know best, I know Andy McNair will talk in a little bit about her own seating chart. She has different seating arrangements that she had in her classroom where somebody can sit over here in this, this kind of chair, and then over here they had this kind of chair. And there's different ways of a student to be able to engage in their learning that suits them. So what would you say that the teacher can do to still include that, but not restrict the fact that the class gets out of control, So
I think it's one of those things where we sweat the small stuff.
Yeah.
So, where, besides a behavior problem, where a student sits, like who really cares?
Yeah.
If they're coming in and they're learning, who cares if they want to sit on the floor in the corner? Who cares if they want to sit in a seat? And who cares if they want to sit at your desk? So you don't have anything, that's any kind of
documentation.
Documents there. But I mean, who cares? So we sweat the small stuff. Let your students sit where they're comfortable. I am a very anal person. I was a very anal child. So I was one of those people that, once I saw my dream desk, it's almost like Sheldon on the Big Bang Theory. That was my area. Don't sit in it. You know? And if the teacher would move me or something like that, it would throw me completely off. So I understand those type of students who see that corner and go, that is where I want to learn from. Let them go learn from it.
Absolutely.
I mean, if they're learning, they're not a behavior problem, who cares?
Right.
Let them sit wherever they want to sit.
That's such great advice. I think letting go, you mentioned earlier, the fear that as teachers we feel because we feel pressured to have everything together, know everything. Our students can't know more than us. And that we have to have everything right and everything perfect and really letting go. Classroom management doesn't mean that you're letting go of your classroom skills of you're letting your kids go wild. It means that you have learned, you've taken the extra time, you've made those adaptations to their needs that doesn't distract, or take away from their time and their energy and their focus, but that it helped them to be more efficient with the time that they do have.
Absolutely, because it is about them.
Yeah.
We are there because of them.
Yeah.
If all students went away one day, we would not have a job. So we are there for them. We are there for their learning.
Do you think students desire classroom management?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, that's one of the first things I do in my classroom management class is that they crave structure.
Yeah.
Even if they hate you for it, they crave it. And sometimes, honestly, you're the only one that's giving them structure in their life. And they need that. They're craving it.
Mm-hmm.
It does tell them that they are loved.
Yeah.
And I used to tell my students, you should be offended when you go into a classroom that the teacher just like, oh, do whatever you want to. That should offend you.
Yeah.
You should be offended by that.
Yeah.
Like, you don't care enough to teach me.
Right.
That you that's not a good thing. It's not a party time.
Right.
And my students kind of got it. Like, you're right. That's not, even though I'm sure they didn't say anything, but they understood
I'm sure that they did.
That's
because you know what? I have seen times where students have stood up and said, you know what? You're not doing your job.
Yes.
And there are times where there's disrespectful times where you don't want a student standing up and disrespecting a class.
Well, I used to teach my students it's a time and a place for everything.
Exactly.
Even with me, I would say I want you to, just like I question you on everything, they can never just say an answer without me saying why. They knew that. They had to tell me. So I'm like, just like that, you can question me on what I'm doing, but there is a time and a place for everything.
Sure. That's a good call. That's a really good
call. So
call.
that's what I used to teach them. Come
like in the middle of a test, you yelling.
Exactly. That's not the right thing. And just, like little things like setting up your rules in the beginning. I tell teachers, you really only have one rule in your class. Everything is like a vision. Everything should revolve around that one rule, whatever that rule is for you. For me, it was respect. I used to teach my students that everything falls under respect. If you respect me, you're going to have your supplies. If you respect the class, you're going to do your work. Like, everything falls under respect. It's really, you don't need any other rule.
Right.
And I used to break it down to them. I used to tell them, think about that adult that you really respect and how you act around them. And then think about that adult you don't respect. And they'll start giggling. You know the difference.
Yeah.
You know the difference. So let's not pretend with each other, and I would tell them, who's ever heard, if you respect me, I'll respect you. And they all raise their hand. And I go, it's not a choice in here. It's not an option. We're going to respect each other.
Right.
And if you can't deal with that, you need to go change your schedule. Like, I love you. I'll see you next year or something. So, it's one of those kind of things where it's like, we're not going to have a choice in here. That's not how we play things in this classroom.
Right.
So I think just setting up, like, I had that all done ahead of time. It wasn't fly by night. I worked my butt off at the beginning to make sure that all of those kind of things were set up.
Yeah.
And you're still going to have those outliers, you're still going to have those students that misbehave.
Mm-hmm.
And naturally that relationship will come in, where you can pull them out. And I call it the Cosby Show talk. Sometimes these kids have never heard you can do better.
Yeah.
Sometimes these kids have never heard I love you. You'll be surprised. Like, you'll think, oh, yeah, of course. Sometimes they haven't. And if you have that relationship with the student, instead of saying, blah, 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 saying I'm disappointed will crush them. Mm-hmm. That's when you truly have a relationship with a student. Right. You can say, I'm just disappointed, and it will hurt their world. And that's when you have that relationship with the student. And then if it comes down to it, if it's a student you don't have a relationship with and they're still misbehaving, then you may have to go through some routes like writing them up. I don't like to.
I know. Yeah, that's like the last resort, really.
Yeah.
You should never have to get to that. There's so many other ways.
Yeah. When I would write a student up, they would get suspended because I never wrote students up. It's like it's always something else.
Right.
Most of the time, there's something else that you can do.
Right. Absolutely. Well, I will tell you that I'm inspired by you. When you speak about things, I really hear your passion. I hear your love for your students. I hear your love for educators and really wanting to make sure that the classroom is the place that it can be. So I appreciate you sharing your knowledge and your expertise in this community.
Say 2 more things if I can.
Please, yes.
Okay. One is a part of personalized learning is also giving your students choice.
Yeah.
So not just like the room setup and the physical things, but just like little things. So if you're not comfortable with doing more open things for personalized learning, give them a choice in assignments. Start there. Mm-hmm. So when you have an assignment and you know what you want to actually see that they learned, come up with a list of 5 things that they can do where they can actually choose how to show you that they've learned that skill. So
Yeah.
start small. If it's kind of you are a little afraid of doing
Yeah.
the whole personalized learning thing, start small and start giving them options, start giving them student voice, let them teach a lesson.
Mhm.
Just little stuff like that gives your students authority, gives your students
Value.
Yeah,
You're showing them
of what
how
they're
much
learning.
you believe in them.
Yeah,
You're showing how much you see in them, and you're giving them the opportunity to shine. You
exactly.
know. So
And to my teacher leaders and to my administrators, personalized learning is not just for students, it's also for your teachers. So on those professional development days, can I do a presentation about that
Yeah.
too? Please don't do one size fits all. We tell teachers not to do it. We shouldn't be modeling that for teachers. So
Absolutely.
teachers should have a choice in what different sessions they go to. Even if it's a regular PD day on one day, they should have options of where they go. Because if I already know Google Forms, why am I sitting through Google Forms again? I could be going to level 2 of Google Forms and learn something a little bit deeper. And I know principals and teacher leaders who will say, well, how do I get all these presenters? That you have people on your campus.
That's right.
Believe
in them.
Yeah, start giving them some leadership roles. Start building up your people.
And Desiree has started an ed camp.
Yes.
In Louisiana. And how has that been? How have the teachers
it's amazing.
responded?
We just had it last weekend. It's Ed Camp in LA, just the regular in LA, for North Louisiana. And it was amazing. We had about 75 teachers show up. And this one was concentrated on Head Start through 3, but we had some middle school and high school teachers show up as well.
Nice.
And it was amazing.
Wow.
We had a good old time.
Yeah.
Yes, it was very, very good. The news came out. It was nice.
Wow.
It was a very nice event, and the teachers really loved it.
That's awesome. Do you want to get in touch with Desiree? I'm going to let her share how to get in touch with her, where you can find her.
Okay, well, my website is educatoralexander.com. It has everything on it, all my social media, my email address, which is just educatoralexander@gmail.com. On Twitter, I'm at Educator Alex, because I didn't have enough characters to do Educator Alexander. But on every other social media, I'm Educator Alexander. So they can find me on my website. There's a whole bunch of free stuff, free tools, webinars on my YouTube channel, just a whole bunch of stuff. I have a couple of webinars coming up. This month is on Google extensions.
Yeah.
Next month is on how to become an educational leader in Louisiana specifically.
Yeah.
But a whole bunch of free stuff. You just have to register. So take a second to look at the website and get all this free stuff off of it. And you can sign up for my newsletter. I send it out once a month.
Nice. Yeah. Well, she is part of a vibrant learning ambassador community that is actually going to continue on. We have guests coming all throughout TCEA coming to share their passion, expertise, and knowledge. And we are so thankful to have them part of the community. And she is one of our latest learning ambassadors that has joined the team and has just been rocking and rolling, just supporting the learning. And we appreciate you so much.
And thank you for heading the team and creating all these possibilities.
Oh, I'm so excited to be a part of this. All right, guys, we have Andy McNair coming with us next. I'm going to put us on pause, and so excited to keep the learning going, guys.
Yes.